Okay, your mom wanted baked Lay's.
In 2015, the FDA declared that partially hydrogenated oils were no longer generally recognized as safe due to increased risk of heart disease. Food manufacturers were ordered to phase out the use of artificial trans fats by June of 2018. Seed breeders had already accelerated work on improving cooking oils, soy, sunflower, and canola among them, nearly 10 years earlier, when the federal government began requiring trans fats to be listed on food nutrition labels.
At the same time that the oil value was declining because of all of these issues, the meal value was increasing. And so overall the value of soybean has been at a pretty good level. So it's sort of a lost value that they didn't recognize that they got dinged.
Food use of soybean oil fell 20% between 2004, the year after the labeling rule was finalized, and 2011. However, soybean oil remains the most widely used cooking oil in the country. For decades, food processors used a variety of partially hydrogenated cooking oils in the creation of meals and snacks. The oils are modified with hydrogen gas to increase shelf life and allow for use at higher cooking temperatures. Millions have been invested in the hunt for new oilseed varieties, both naturally occurring and genetically engineered, that might display that elusive mix of high heat stability, long shelf life, neutral taste, and improved health benefits. Many of those researching soybeans, like USDA molecular biologist Kristen Ballou, focused in on a heart-healthy monounsaturated fat known as oleic acid.
So we go from about 20 or 30% oleic acid to about 80% oleic acid. So we've shifted almost all of the fatty acid into this heart-healthy monounsaturated fatty acids. It's quite similar to how olive oil's natural profile is.
Ballou worked with University of Missouri soybean scientists who found a naturally occurring mutation that may solve the equation. Others have pinpointed their own versions and have spent recent years improving yields. Schillinger Genetics, an Iowa-based company that focuses on non-genetically modified products, gained the right to sell the University of Missouri high oleic seed commercially under the label Emerge.
I think it's a evolution of change that's going on all around us, and a lot of it starts at the consumer level.
Schillinger acknowledges that the entire marketplace needs to be nurtured, which will involve getting farmers, soybean crushers, and oil distillers on board.
That's the differentiating value is hard to come up with unless you got somebody with an inquisitive mind on the other side in the laboratories looking at oil quality from the standpoint of shelf life or use in cooking French fries or things like that.
As scientists at the University of Missouri were at work, private groups were pursuing the same goal. DuPont Pioneer developed and began marketing the Plenish brand of high oleic soybeans, while Monsanto created Vistiv Gold. The industry is faced with convincing farmers to plant new seeds that must be kept separate from their conventional counterparts. For now, seed companies are paying premiums.
The grain prices were very high. Now they're coming down, and so it's a little different story.
So far, the nation's farmers are growing less than 1 million acres of the new soybeans. The United Soybean Board, which has invested $60 million in high oleic research since 2012, has a goal of seeing 18 million acres planted by 2023. DuPont Pioneer, which began large-scale production in Ohio and Indiana 6 years ago, has been recruiting elevators and soybean crushing facilities farther west. AGP's crushing plant in Hastings, Nebraska, stepped forward to take Plenish soybeans for the 2016 and 2017 growing seasons.
For us, it's just getting the product out on the volume of acres that an end user like AGP needs. Once that happens and they can go out and sell the oil. They lowered the premium this year, but the guys that were around the crush plant already delivering found that the 20-cent premium was well worth it.
The Ablett family of Inwood, Nebraska, located just a half dozen miles from the plant, was among those who continued growing Plenish in 2017, even after the initial year's 40-cent premium was cut in half. The low transportation costs were key in their decision-making process.
Obviously, with new programs, new products, there's always some skepticism, but there was some premium involved. The logistics of it made it somewhat attractive. You have to take a little more care than you would with normal commodity beans as far as cross-contamination, but really not a big deal.
The road to widespread acceptance still has a few bumps. AGP Hastings has changed course, and it will no longer accept the beans in 2018 because of the struggle to market the still unfamiliar oil. Ballou acknowledges there is more to be done as the federal deadline looms.
The pull is not coming from the farmers because they're an intermediate player in the health of consumers. The solution to the trans fat problem could be high oleic soybean oil. That's a solution that would benefit probably all Americans, but those Americans shouldn't have to pay more for that benefit. And so then we have to work backwards of if no one will pay more for a health benefit, how do we pull it through the marketplace? How do we make sure that each player feels rewarded for their part in the chain? And I think an economist is better suited to answer that than a molecular biologist.
For Market to Market, I'm Colleen Bradford Krantz.